Greetings, this is Dave in Prescott, Arizona with Ham Radio Test and Review. Today, I'm going to show you how to download and set up the CPS software for the iRadio UV-98 Plus. And today I'll be showing you how to do that since there's pretty much everything is in Chinese on this website. So first thing you have to do is you have to go out to the iRadio website, and that is QZ, which is question zebra, iRadio.com/home, right over here. Once you do that, you come over here, go to download software, and you come here to the Chinese CPS.zip. Now, this is the upgrade tool. That's for the firmware. This is for a different radio, and this is for a different radio. This in Chinese with the CPS.zip is for the UV-98. You click it, and you put in the numbers, obviously, so you're a human. Click OK. Okay, it's downloading. I know I clicked it a second time. It's downloading. Okay, the scan was complete. It's now opened up, and as you can see, it's Chinese CPS file folder. You tell it to extract all. It'll extract it into this directory. You can change it and get rid of some of that Chinese lettering there, which I will do. I'll just let it be called CPS. All right, and I will extract. Okay, here we go. And of course, it still gave me the Chinese file folder. Oh, and what you need to do now is you need to go through the list and pick out the particular one for the UV-98, which is right here. It says UV-98 or 998 plus underscore CPS. Double click that. And here you have your UV-98 CPS. I double click that. And you tell it more info, run anyway. So the publisher cannot be verified. You sure you want to run this software. You tell it to run. And then you tell it yes. Okay, and here's the CPS software. All right. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to plug your radio in, and you want to, read from the radio and save it so you have a baseline stock configuration to start with when you want to start programming. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, we're back. I cleaned up the screen a little bit. So here's what you want to do. I have connected my iRadio using the programming cable, not the charging cable, and I have turned it on, and I'm going to read from it now. Oh, and before I do that, I need to make sure that I've got the correct port selected. I've only got one, it's COM3. Say yes, and you click read again, and you'll see that the software is now reading from the radio. And it does take a little bit. Baud rates are sometimes slow. And we're getting close to being done. You might actually sometimes get an error, but it does complete, and it does end up working correctly. So as you can see, it completed and everything was fine. Now, what you want to do is you want to save this configuration. I call it iRadio UV-98, stock config 1, stock config 2. I always keep an extra second one, and so I put the name in there, and I click save. And so since I've already done this, overwrite it. So now you can go through and take a look at all the different configs that came stock in the radio. Set of channels, not sure what all those channels are, but they won't apply to me. As you can see, I did try to put in a couple of repeater zones before I got the programming cable and tried to do a couple of things with it, but I wasn't very successful. Here we go. Okay, so what you want to be able to do now is you want to be able to configure a few things. So let me get back and I will go through some of these items with you. In the device, you can put in your radio call sign or the name of the radio, whatever you want to do here. You can also password protect the radio. I don't generally do these. And then these things you don't usually touch, just leave them alone. The image that's supposed to be here does say iRadio. I don't know why it's not showing up. It did before. When you power on, if you want to enable a startup welcome message, you can put it here and you can tell it where to be centered in the screen. When it does turn on, you can also enable a power on password. You can also tell it to display the startup image, which is over here that says iRadio. I know it's blank. And you can also enable the startup tone. Here is your first config screen. You can tell it that the LEDs behind the keys are either on or not, voice prompt on or not, key beep on or off, key lock, I always keep it unlocked, key lock timer off, LCD brightness, I left it at 4, display timer, I changed it to 30, save mode, I left it at 1 to 1, though you can turn it off. Save the start timer for 10, you can set it for a higher number. The menu exit timer, I always leave off because if I wait too long, it's going to exit and then I've got to go back into it again. Now, here is something that you need to know everything about. This is the working range for your transmit and receive on this radio. If you set it for 64 to 620 megahertz, you're only going to be able to transmit and receive on the 2 meter and 70 centimeter band. That's it. If you want to be able to transmit and receive on the HF frequencies, then you've got to set it for 18 to 64, which includes the 10 meter band and the 11 meter band, which is CB, which I know a lot of people are excited about. If you want to transmit, excuse me, actually only receive on the super ultra frequency band, 840 to 1000, it's actually 999 megahertz, then you need to set it for that band. Let's try first setting it for the standard 2 meter, 70 centimeter GMRS bands so we can play around with those, since most of you are familiar with that. Scan mode, I always set it for CO, but you have a choice of TO and SE. Scan direction, I always say up. Scan return, I always like to return to the original channel. The dwell timer is 5 milliseconds, something like that. The alarm type is the local, that's the whoo woo woo sound. TX priority, I leave it at edit. Talk around, I turn off. UV repeater is off. The multi-standby is on. Now, multi-standby is something that you can use to monitor all 3 VFOs all at the same time. So you can actually monitor 3 different channels at the same time. The current area is B, but I want to set it for A. In other words, the VFO A will be the main one that comes on when you first turn on the radio. You can set it for A, B, or C. Frequency steps, I always set it for 25K. In the area A mode, I want to set it for zone mode. Area B or area A show, I set it for channel mode. You can set it for channel or frequency mode. The zone mode, you can set it for frequency or channel mode or zone mode. I like the zone mode the best. And I want the area A zone to be the very first zone in the list. I'm going to set that for 70 centimeters. You'll see in a minute. The area A channel, I want it to start at 1, not 11. Okay. The area B, which is the B VFO, I also want it in zone mode. Area B, I'll also want it in channel mode. The area B zone will be zone number 2, and I'm going to set that for the 2-meter zone. And then the area B channel will be channel 1 in that zone. Then the area C mode, again, I want zone mode, channel mode. The third zone, which I'm going to set up for the 1.25 meter or the 220 megahertz band, and I want to set it for channel 1 in that zone. All right. Config number 2, the tone frequency, we don't use that much here in the United States. Squelch level, I always like to set to 1. The transmit start tone, always transmit and receive tones always turn off. I don't like the Roger beeps. Don't use Vox. Not sure what the detect range is. I'll just leave it. The relay feedback delay. NOAA monitor, I'm going to turn on. I cannot test that at the moment though. Not sure what the glitch level is. I'll have to look that up. Voice level, RSSI level, transmit mic gain, I'll leave it stock. The speaker gain, I'll leave it stock. The DAC gain, leave that stock. Speaker gain, leave it stock. The DAC gain for AM, leave that stock. The receive test off. RSSI-TH test set for 100. I don't use that. Noise TH test set for 40. I don't use it. Power test off. Here's where you can turn all your power up to the maximum. Maximum is 255. For each frequency range, I set them to the max. I know this is taking a few seconds. And I'm only going to go this far because I don't intend to transmit on anything higher than that. For your keys, right now the first programmable key for pressing short will do what we call monitor. That turns the squelch all the way off. Long press, scan. Second programmable key, short press, you get your AM/FM radio. Long press, for that, you get your turn on your LED for your keypad. I'm going to do a couple of different things here. Let's see, scan, Vox, squelch, frequency step, multiple standby. Transmit priority, Roger beep, your radio, talk around, emergency alarm, send tone, frequency detect, spectrum. This is the one I want. I'm going to turn on the spectrum. And also, too, I'm going to not do the scan for the long press on the first one. I'm going to turn the repeater on. UV repeater. That's UHF and VHF repeater. Okay. If I wanted all 3 buttons to be PTT activated for each VFO, I would check this box. I'm not going to deal with the number keys at the moment, but you can reprogram all the different numbers on the keypad. Okay, now we've got our channels. These have been put in by the CPS software. So I'm going to clear all those out. Zones, I'm going to change these. The FM radio, I can change the presets for the FM radio, the DTMF codes, and for time, I think most of this is really set for the GPS, which is in the extended, which my radio does not have. So I am going to set up to program a channel for you and a zone for you, and then we will program the radio with it, and we will see how everything is working. Let's see, I forgot about this one. And I think there's one farther down. Yeah, right there. There we go. All right. So I'll set up to program in a channel, and then we will get right back to you. So here's my first repeater I'm going to program in, 449.75 on the receive, and the transmit is a -5. So I set that to 444.75. Now, you would think that the CTS code for a receive, if it was a dual CTS code, would be right here, and for the transmit would be right here. However, it doesn't work that way in the CPS. I've already tried it, and if I put the transmit CTCSS code next to the transmit frequency, it doesn't work. The actual transmit CTCS code is over here, next to the receive frequency. I know, it doesn't sound correct, but when you put in the transmit CTCSS code next to the receive frequency, then you also get one for the actual receive side. So you have to actually undo that and say none. All right. So that now is the receive frequency, the transmit CTCSS code, the transmit frequency, and then none on this receive CTCSS code. Again, this is something that I've had problems with both Radtel and iRadio. I have one of the Radtel radios that I have. I don't remember if it was the 890 or the 900, but the transmit and receive frequencies are reversed. It says receive frequency over here, but you have to put the transmit in. And when it says transmit frequency here, you have to put the receive in. But that's for another radio. I'll keep the power as high, the band wide. I'll add it to the scan. Busy lock off, scrambled off, the tail beep, I'm going to turn off, timeout timer, leave off, DCS type normal. I'm not going to put a mute code in. The channel alias is the name. This is on the WINS system, so I'm going to put WINS. AM, FM, of course, you put just FM, and we can then save it. We can save it as the iRadio. Oh, I have it set up as iRadio test 1 here. There we go. iRadio test 1. Save. All right. We can select the port, make sure it's on COM port 3, and we can write this to the radio now. So let me make sure my radio is plugged in and turned on. It is. Right to the radio. I let it say close after completed, but it doesn't really close when it completes, just so you know. When it is completed, it'll tell you it's completed and it will reboot. You have to click OK. Okay, it's rebooting, and we will come back to you and I'll show you what's going on. And now I'm going to try a radio check. This is NADAV looking for a radio check. Does anybody out there hear me? All right, maybe nobody's out there. Now I'm going to show you how to program a zone. Here we have our list of zones all the way up to 256. And I'm going to call it 70 centimeters. And I have my channel here, the winds channel that I programmed earlier. And of course, we've got Chinese here with an arrow pointing to here, showing that now the winds, the unchecked channels, are now checked in this particular zone. If I wanted to put it in zone 3, I could also do the same. So now I have winds in zone 3, nothing in zone 2, and winds in zone 1. All right? Then all I have to do is save it and then write it to the radio. Because I have to plug it in order for it to work, huh? All right, I'll be right back. So like just about every other radio that we are getting now into the market, this iRadio UV-98 and the Radtel RT-880 have been released probably before they should have. They haven't been fully quality control tested and quality assurance tested. Neither has the CPS software, nor has the firmware that they also released. So what I am going to tell all of you is that if you wait 6 months or a year after a radio has been released, you'll get a much more mature product and one that works better, hopefully anyway. So what I'm going to suggest is on a radio like this, unless you're willing to be a guinea pig, and if you really like to tinker and play around with all of your stuff, then this might be a good radio for you. It's got a lot of advanced features I haven't even begun to videotape and document yet. So we'll get into it. I'm going to be doing some power testing on all the different frequencies. I'm going to be doing some field testing on all the different frequencies. And so there's going to be a lot more videos coming on down. But I just wanted to show you how to do a quick program with the CPS and the radio as it comes straight off the website in Chinese, so you can understand what it is that you're doing. So anyway, I think you might have a lot of fun with this, and you'll have a lot of stuff to play around with. There are a lot of new and advanced and cutting edge type technologies in this radio. So anyway, I'll be working on some more videos for you. This is Ham Radio Test and Review. My name is Dave. I'm in Prescott, Arizona. My call sign is N8DAV, and my motto is one test is worth 1,000 expert opinions. Saying so long, 73s.